my friend, are you a small business owner that loves God, family, country, and capitalism? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to the War Plan Briefing. My name is Josh. Super excited you're here. And today, this might break your brain. Maybe you'll get mad at me, but we're going to talk about 4 reasons why interest rates being higher is actually good for your small business, at least potentially good. So if you'll hear me out, funny story, my first house was actually a trailer. I lived in a trailer park. My friend Marshall, he called my trailer, he called it a condominium, okay? Like not a condominium, but a condominium, like it was made out of aluminum and it would blow away in a tornado. Yeah, funny joke, Marshall. But we actually loved our trailer. But when I bought that trailer, I bought it at 19 years old with no cosigner. I was really proud of it. It had a fireplace, Will, actually. I don't know if I ever told you that. Seems like a really dangerous idea to put an actual real fireplace in. The walls were this thin in this thing, right? But when I bought that trailer, I remember talking to my parents about their first home, because this was like my first home. Now, my first home had a vehicle title that came with it, but still, it was a home nonetheless, right? It was my condominium. And my dad told me that their first house, they had an interest rate of like 16%. I was born in 1981, and interest rates were way, way, way higher then. And, if you're old enough, you'll remember that. All the old timers are looking like, yeah, these young kids, they don't understand anything about, anything, but specifically interest rates, right? I think all that's true. So this isn't something that's like never happened before. I do think that they're going to continue to go up. Inflation's out of control, and we're not going to have an economics class here because that's not my thing anyway. But there are benefits of interest rates going higher, and specifically for small local businesses, here's kind of 4 of the benefits, the way that I see it after working with over 1,000 of you for over a decade. And here's the big one. When interest rates get really high, it's going to kind of force you to solve your problems with your brain instead of with cash, okay? And this is like tough love. So look, you can click off, but don't do it. Don't do it. Just let it happen, okay? Go for a walk while you listen to this. We've been trained and conditioned the last several years to have access to cheap money that's readily available through a variety of sources all the time. And that is not good. Think of it as a parent raising a kid, and the kid gets everything they want all the time, and how that's not good. And what kind of adult does it produce when a kid is raised like that? Well, for the last several years, businesses have been flying high from a couple of things, not just free money and getting your stimulus check from Uncle Joe or whatever, right? And it wasn't just Joe. I mean, this goes before. Trump got us hundreds of billions in debt, like crazy, right? There's just been so much money created, specifically from COVID forward with the PPP and the EIDL loans and everything that happened. There's just money. Banks are loaning stuff out. Some banks are giving mortgages to people that you wouldn't want to lend $5 to if you found it blowing down the sidewalk, right? So there's a bubble. There's weird stuff going on. There's danger. But if you are a man or woman of honor and integrity and you run a good company, even if it maybe got a little away from you during the easy times of massive demand and a roaring economy that's definitely downshifted and is about to hit a wall, so to speak, metaphorically, during those good times, you might have got spoiled, you might have got off track, but it's good for you to solve problems with your brain, to think outside the box. It's healthy. If you think of the economy like a living organism, what this is going to do is it's going to purge people. It's literally going to purge people because most people aren't awake. They're not consuming content like this. I mean, I understand that it's kind of work to think through these thoughts. It's work to hear things that might cause anxiety in you. But the Bible says that a wise man sees danger ahead and hideth himself. A fool does nothing and suffers for it. Which one do you want to be, right? The fool or the wise man? So we don't need to be living in fear, but we need to understand that there's a pit in the road and we can figure out how to walk over the pit or around the pit or fill in the pit or whatever, right? But maybe you have too many expenses. Maybe you've gotten yourself into too much debt. Maybe you were going to get that 4th truck and you can't now, or you're hesitant to now because the payments are so high. Maybe that's a really good thing for you and your family. Maybe finally you're going to raise your prices like you should have 2 or 3 years ago. This will basically have a positive effect. It's almost like tough love. Like a father gives his child tough love. It's like the economy is giving small business owners tough love. Some people won't respond well to it, but I see it as a massive long-term benefit for a lot of good people. The second benefit for high interest rates to a small business is that people are going to invest money in their current home rather than buying a new home. This is already starting to happen. It's going to start happening more. I'm making another YouTube video today that'll be published this week about how to reposition your offers. You're going to want to watch that. This has to do with this fact. But here's the reality, depending on where you are in the country, the real estate market is slowing down a little bit. Not everywhere. I got to be honest. In Dallas, it's roaring still, okay? And it might for a while. But the reality is that when interest rates go up, people buy less houses. What they'll do though is they'll reinvest more money in their current house. And I've talked to business owners all over the country where this is happening. People are doing remodeling projects. They're creating the man cave they always wanted. They're re-roofing their house because now they're not going to sell it. They're investing in cleaning things and building things and just sprucing things up. They're landscaping their backyard. A lot of people during high interest rates, they save more money. Or people that have investments, if they're older, right, their investments start yielding better returns for them. And they have no problem making investments into their home. And in the other YouTube video that'll come out this week, or maybe it already did, I don't know which order they go out in, the one where I talk about how to reposition your offers, it's going to break your brain and be very helpful for you for that. But I want you to keep in mind, if you have a local home service business specifically, high interest rates can be extremely helpful to you, believe it or not, because people want to stay. They're not going to buy the second home maybe right now, but they're going to nest more in their current home and invest. The third reason it can be good is there's going to be less competition. So think of the high interest rates as like the great purge. And it's not just interest rates. It's the overall economic climate. It's fear, basically. Interest rates being higher is one thing. Gas prices and egg prices being higher is one thing. Those are big factors. The biggest factor, though, is how freaked out everybody gets because of those other things. And because they get freaked out, consumer behavior changes, right? But not just consumer behavior, business owner behavior. I should coin a new term called business owner behavior. Fox News and CNN always talks about consumer behavior and the consumer spending index and the blah, blah, blah. What about the business behavior index or whatever? Small business owners panic. And what is the first thing they cut? They stop marketing. They reduce their marketing spend. They cut their own legs off, to be honest. But that's good news for you, okay? I'm not telling you to go spend money you don't have doing harebrained, silly things. What I am telling you, though, is that there's going to be more media inventory to buy. And when you look at digital marketing in general, ad costs already are going down a lot already. All my internet marketer friends, there's chatter. We just launched a new ad campaign for the Atomic Marketing Playbook, which, by the way, if you want that, it's totally free. It's amazing. Go to warplan.com and you can have it for free. But we're running some ads, just testing. We just started. And the cost per lead is cheaper than anything I've ever seen before. And part of it's because people are nervous to spend money. Your competition service to spend money. They're not going to be canvassing as hard. They're not going to be making joint venture partnerships with other businesses in your area as hard. But you could be doing it. You could lean into it. You got to remember that really affluent people aren't affected by the economic slowdown the same as you are. And if you aren't super affluent already, which most of you are not, you're actually caring that gas is $4 instead of $3. Well, a lot of the people that you can market to, they don't notice that, okay? And so their money is still there. Less people are going to be marketing to them because we think that the world is true the way that we see it only. A friend of mine, the same guy that called my trailer a condominium, he also said that, Josh, people can only see the world through their own eyes. And the example he gave me when he said that was, people that are dishonest think that everyone is ripping them off. You ever notice that? Isn't that fascinating? People that are liars think everyone's lying to them. People that cheat on their spouse are constantly paranoid that their spouse is cheating on them. The same is true with money. If you have a scarcity mindset and you've struggled for years, you're going to project that on your market and you're going to falsely believe that everyone feels like that when they don't. And that causes you to pull back and shrink back. And it makes everything 10 times harder. Don't do that. The last but not least benefit to high interest rates is that it's going to force you to level up. It's going to force you to be creative in the way you solve problems, in the way that you create margin. It's also going to make it a little bit easier for you to recruit employees. I think that'll be a big trend this year, to get a little bit easier to hire labor because there's so many companies that are going to be laying people off. The job market's going to soften. And so employers like you are going to have a little bit more leverage over the workforce, right? But it's going to force you to level up, to think differently, to actually become a CEO, to know your numbers. You can't just rest on your laurels. You can't not know your basic numbers when you're in an economy like this, right? The demand is a little bit less. We were riding the wave for a while, and it's going to slow down. Everything's going to be okay. You're still going to crush it, and but I want to encourage you with that. So let's recap briefly. Number one, high interest rates hopefully will help you learn to solve problems with your brain and not just with money. We're not just swiping swiping credit cards and getting lines of credit and getting government stimmies to solve our problems. We're using creative thinking and out-of-the-box thinking and partnerships and networking and all that. Number two, people are going to invest more money in their current home than they were before. Because before, when money was free, they're buying second homes and third homes, and they're traveling all over the place. They're going to do less of that, and they're still going to spend some of their money on their home. Thirdly, there's going to be the great purge. Your competition, a lot of them, to be honest, they're going to get ran over by like a Mack truck. It might take 12 to 18 months. I don't know, but a bunch of them are going to disappear, and you're going to be waiting in the wings to buy their domain names and their phone numbers, buy discounted assets from them. There's going to be more media inventory for you to buy cheaper digital ads, and all this stuff is going to happen if you can hang on. And then last but not least, it helps you to level up. It forces you to level up. Hey, are you getting value out of this video? I don't know. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Either way, if you could comment on it, that would really kind of like juice the algorithm. Maybe I'll get 3 more subscribers from it. I don't know. We're still learning YouTube, but I'm happy you're here. We're pouring our heart and soul into this to help you win. And that's it. I want to hear your story. Like it, share it. Maybe someone needs to hear it. I hope it's an encouragement to you. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.